Question number 7, the Honourable Maryan Street.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister for the Environment and asks, has she had any advice that exploratory drilling at deep sea levels may pose significant environmental or health and safety risks? And if so, why is she proposing that exploratory deep sea drilling, like the Deepwater Horizon Well, is non-notified under the Exclusive Economic Zone and Continental Shelf Environmental Effects Act 2012 and therefore protected from public submissions?
Honourable Amy Adams.
I have received advice that if a large-scale oil spill were to occur, it may well have significant environmental risks. But I've also had advice saying that the likelihood from a spill, from an exploratory drill was very low. I also have seen advice from NIWA that says there were no activities associated with oil and gas extraction considered to represent an extreme environmental risk. To the contrary, exploratory drilling involves the drilling of a very small hole in the seabed and, when operating as intended, has a low environmental impact. At this exploratory stage of the process, it is the environmental impact and safeguards that the regulator needs to be satisfied of, and I'm confident that the EPA, retaining full discretion to accept or to decline the application and impose conditions as needed on a case-by-case basis, achieves this.
Very good.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Maryan Street.
To the Minister, why does she think environmental experts and local groups should not be permitted to submit on the potential environmental and economic impacts for the surrounding area, given the significant risks attaching to exploratory drilling?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I have every confidence that the EPA has access to all of the expertise and advice that they wish to access. They will have all of the information available to them, and they will be able to make the decision based on the facts and the information in front of them, which is appropriate and which is the way the vast majority of regulatory decisions in this country are made.
Supplementary question, Honourable Phil Heatley.
What reports has the Minister seen on the government's offshore oil and gas exploration proposals?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I've seen reports noting that offshore oil and gas drilling is an essential feature of domestic and export growth, and also that decisions on these matters should be made in a rational fashion, not based on knee-jerk emotionalism. The member across the House asking questions previously may want to check which faction she's backing, because these quotes came from the Honourable Shane Jones.
Order. Supplementary question. Order. Supplementary question, the Honourable Maryan
To the Minister,
Street.
talking about deep sea drilling, does she think New Zealand is sufficiently prepared to deal with the risk of a deep sea exploratory well blowout, given that Maritime New Zealand only considers itself prepared to deal with a spill up to 3,500 tonnes, when the Rena vessel alone was carrying 1,700 tonnes, and the Gulf of Mexico exploratory well spilled 600,000 tonnes?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, yes, I am satisfied that New Zealand is very well positioned, given particularly the fact that the Health and Safety and Employment Petroleum Exploration regulations have only just recently been updated to international best practice, that the level of insurance required to be carried by operators has been increased under this government, and I can certainly be confident that New Zealand is far better positioned now that we have a regime for environmental protection in the EEZ, which not only did the Labour Green government not bother with in 9 years, when the national government introduced it, they tried to block it.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Honourable Maryan Street.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, why does she expect the public to have full confidence in her EPA appointees exercising their full discretion in granting non-notified permits, given she attempted to appoint someone to the EPA who was going to carry on consulting work for the oil and gas industry during his time on the board?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I reject that assertion. She's simply incorrect.
Order. Order. Question number 8. Oh, I apologise. I have a further supplementary. Brendan Horan.
Thank you, sir. Given that nearly 2 years after the wreck of the Rena on a rock, there is still oil and debris floating ashore, what confidence can the government give to the people of New Zealand that an oil spill, say 1/100th of the size of the Deepwater Horizon spill, can be contained when the government's current rapid oil response unit consists of 3 aluminium dinghies, just 8 metres long, complete with depth sounder, radio, compass, GPS and 2 outboard motors?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, first of all, the member may not be aware that the Rena incident is not a matter that would have been covered under the EZ legislation. He may not be aware of that, but that is certainly the case. Secondly, Mr Speaker, I would refer that member to the answer I've just given around New Zealand's preparedness. And thirdly, I'd point out to the member that actually the environmental monitoring reports around the recovery from the Rena suggest that the environment has recovered extremely well and exceeded expectations.
Question number 8, Claudette Hawiti.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker.
Tēnā koe.
My question is